So straight true or false. The first question is, in a parallelogram, the diagonals bisect each other. I think it's a false. No, it should be true. We studied this, right? Okay. A parallelogram with equal sides must be a square. Okay. Is a parallelogram with equal sides always a square? No, it can be a rhombus. Okay. अगर आप square बोल रहे हो, okay, a square is definitely a special kind of a rhombus. Okay. But when you say square, उसमें rhombus include नहीं हुआ. Okay. But if you tell that it is a rhombus, yes, rhombus के नीचे square आता है, right? So if you say it is a rhombus, yes, it also includes square, of course. Okay. So the answer is no, it is not a square. Square तो special kind हुआ rhombus का. Okay, where all the angles are equal. The actual answer is it is a rhombus. Okay, go on further. A quadrilateral with equal angles must be a rectangle. The answer is yes. Okay, अब आप बोलोगे इसमें square include हो गया? Yes, include हो गया. Rectangle का branching है आगे square, right? So when you say square, when you say rectangle, okay, rectangle के पूरे set में square आता ही आता है. So basically, yes, it is going to be a rectangle. A quadrilateral with equal angles must be a rectangle. Next question: if the diagonals of a quadrilateral are congruent, it must be a rectangle. True? No, it can also be an isosceles trapezium. थोड़ी देर पहले we proved that also. Okay, using the side angle side test. Okay, the two congruent triangles, the diagonals will be basically equal. Yeah, so it can be an isosceles triangle. So it's a false statement. Okay. All right. So next question: a quadrilateral whose diagonals intersect at right angles must be a rhombus. Is it true? No, it can be a kite, because we know that for a kite the longer diagonal is the perpendicular bisector of the shorter diagonal, right? Okay, अगर ये ऐसा बोलते a parallelogram whose diagonals intersect at right angles, तब हमारा आंसर क्या होता? तब हमारा आंसर होता true. Okay, next one: joining the midpoints of a random quadrilateral in order we get a parallelogram. Okay, let's check क्या ये सही है. So let me draw a the randomest quadrilateral actually. Yes, so it's kind of a randomist quadrilateral. They want to say that if you join the midpoints here, okay, you are getting a parallelogram. Okay, so let's see. Okay, if I join these 2 points right now, okay, let me draw a line. Okay, guys, let me draw a line. Okay, which is parallel to these two. Okay, by the midpoint theorem. Okay, ये ratio 1:1 होगा, ये भी ratio 1:1 होगा, right? Because these two are the midpoints, right? So if I join these 2 points, okay, what I have is this line which is parallel to the third side of triangle by the basic proportionality or the midpoint theorem. So this line which I have formed, dotted line, is parallel to this side I have taken. Same way you can prove this line here, जो कि midpoint से बनी है, joining these two midpoints. Okay, this line will also be parallel to the big line that I have drawn, right? Okay, that means for this random quadrilateral, okay, these two lines are parallel. Okay, same way what you can do is you can join these 2 points and these 2 points. Okay, इसका ratio 1:1 है, इसका ratio 1:1 है, right guys? By the midpoint theorem you can say that अगर एक line मैंने ऐसी draw की, it forms a triangle. This dotted line will be half of this particular third side and also parallel to it, right? So this line is parallel to the darkest short solid line in this case. Same way the dotted line here is also formed by joining the 2 midpoints, right? So by the midpoint theorem, it is parallel to the solid line and also half of it. So these 2 lines are also parallel. That means I have a figure that has opposite pair of sides as parallel. So it is a parallelogram. So you can remember this as a standard rule now, guys. Joining the midpoints of a random quadrilateral in the order, we get a parallelogram. Okay. So next one is a quadrilateral whose opposite angles are supplementary is a rectangle. इसमें तो कोई doubt नहीं है, बिल्कुल doubt है, ये हम आगे जाके don't worry सीखेंगे detail में when we study cyclic quadrilaterals. Okay, the answer is no, it can be a cyclic quadrilateral. Last question: of all rectangles with the given perimeter, the square has the greatest area. Yes, it does, because we saw this in the given question where we derived that the area is maximum when we have a square. So yes. Okay, of all the rectangles with the given perimeter, the square has the greatest area. That is a true statement. Okay, 2 adjacent sides of a parallelogram are 14 and 18 centimeters. If the length of its diagonal is, if the length of one of its diagonals is 16 centimeters, then what would be the length of another one? Okay, of the other one होना चाहिए actually, but ठीक है, it's not a verbal class anyway. Okay, so I again request you all to just try out the question once, and then we are going to discuss. All right, so it's a very classic question because what we are going to do here is something very, very amazing. Okay, we'll just take the values. एक side हमने 18 लिया, दूसरा हमने 14 लिया. Okay, the diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other, right? So let's say the point where the two bisect is D here in this case. So हमने CD और DB दोनों को अलग-अलग से लिख दिया 8 and 8. Okay, now guys, you can observe something. There's a triangle ABC. Okay, there's a triangle ABC over here. Okay, जिसमें D is the midpoint of BC, right? So AD becomes the median. right? So we can apply the Apollonius principle, right? So we apply the Apollonius principle. So AC square plus AB square will be twice of AD square plus twice of BD square, या फिर आप उसको DC square जो लिखना चाहो लिख सकते हो, BC upon 2 भी लिख सकते हो, एक ही बात है, 80 आएगा. So plugging in the values, you get AD square is 196 or AD is equal to 14. Now the other diagonal is nothing but 14 का double, right? Because ये जो होगा, it is only half the diagonal जो कि हमने 14 निकाला है. So the complete diagonal is 14 into 2, 28. That's the required answer in this case, right? As simple as that.